what had happened was our bus was going through an intersection and we had the right of way, and a semi-truck driver was driving through as well, and they blew a stop sign and our bus T-boned the semi-truck trailer. I don't remember once it went black. So this is all kind of hearsay, putting the pieces together, the little puzzle pieces, as I'd like to say. At that collision point, what I think happened was I flew forward around 7 rows and hit my head and getting a seat 5C imprinted to the right side of my eye. And I woke up after 5 days later. So I was in like a state of called post-traumatic amnesia. And that was when I looked around and I had no clue where I was. Then all kind of clicked in my head. I was like, okay, well, we must have played our game. I must have got hit from behind. I must have got a concussion. And here I am in a hospital because I don't remember anything. So makes sense. And then I looked around and my parents were there. And then I asked them, did we win our game? They looked at me confused, like, what do you mean, did you win your game? It's like, did we win our game? And they were like, Kaleb, there was no game. We've already told you. You're in a bus crash. 16 passed away. There's 13 survivors. And I was one of the survivors. And I couldn't believe them at all. So I've like passing my phone, like give me my phone. So then I opened it up and didn't believe them. So I hit Twitter and I saw hashtag prayers for Humboldt, hashtag Humboldt strong. And that was when I first kind of came to the reality of what had just happened. Injuries I suffered was a fractured skull, a punch wound to my skull, a scalp degloving, 5 broken vertebrae in my neck, 4 in my back, muscle, nerve, ligament damage, blood clots, and then a severe traumatic brain injury where I shouldn't be able to walk, talk, or remember my name based on the imaging. So very, very fortunate to be where I'm at today. The worst part wasn't really the injuries, though, to be honest. I take those. It was losing the 16 people they consider to be family.
In the book, going back to the scene, you're on your hands and knees trying to help your other teammates, and you take off your jacket and you put it over somebody. And when the paramedic comes to you, you have a piece of shrapnel in your head and you are more concerned about your teammates.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I don't remember that. And that's the thing, is like the story was told to me by my first responder. On the team, I was jokingly called like the team mom because I cared about everybody so much. And I think like it kind of reigns true in all my life aspects. Like I really do care about the people that are in my life.
Canada is a very strong hockey nation. Mm-hmm. So you had people in the community, people on other hockey teams, parents, friends, colleagues, everybody supporting this recovery and the awareness of what happened. So how did that feel?
I am so grateful for anybody listening to this. Thank you for your support. If you put a stick out, wore a jersey, donated, sent a letter, sent a message, even had us in our thoughts or prayers, thank you. Like truly thank you, because I don't think you really realize how much that support means until you go through something like that. But it wasn't just Saskatchewan. It wasn't just Canada. It was the entire world. But at the same time, it makes me think and like take a step back. And like when I was in that situation, I was very humbled and honored. But there was an elderly lady beside me in my room. She had one visitor in her 5 days that we're in the same room together in the hospital. And that broke my heart because we had a lineup out of our room of visitors wanting to come. And it just goes to show that like there's people going through their own tragedies or their own things in their life with very little support. So now more than ever, when people are going through a tough time, I try to check in on them. I try to be there for them because of that experience in particular. I've had many prior to as well, but that experience in particular really showcased how much people need support in their tragedies or their tough parts of their life.
What surprised you most about yourself?
It was my ability to accept it, be like, okay, how am I going to turn this something negative to something positive? And what am I going to do to help other people throughout this? And then the forgiveness piece was also very fast too. And then moving forward, I was like, okay, how am I going to live my life to the fullest? Not just for myself, but for those who aren't here. I had this long text message ready to send to my best friend. I was going to hit send. And then I realized he wasn't there. He was sitting behind me on the bus and he passed away. He was my roommate. If I passed away, how would I want them to live their life? Well, I want them to pursue their passions, their dreams, their goals, to make the most of life. So for me, having that mindset and that awareness that fast, that awareness, that forgiveness, that acceptance, and then wanting to move forward to make the community and other people around me better is what surprised me, I'd say, in that process. I've had many other experiences prior to the crash where I've had to be able to adapt and be like, okay, well, this is my life circumstances right now. I either make the most of it or I let it make the most of me. And I was able to try to make the most of it. Even diabetes was like a big piece in that puzzle too. Living with diabetes, which is 24/7, 365. And the moment you can shift to like, what is this teaching me? What is this doing to better me? How am I going to make the most of the situation to help other people? What can I do in my power to control the things I can control? Like I couldn't control the fact that the semi-truck driver went through a stop sign. I couldn't control the fact of who was here, who wasn't here. I couldn't control injuries. I couldn't control the public perception. I couldn't control anything other than myself. And how was I going to respond to it? Where were my values, my beliefs, my morals, my work ethic, my integrity, character? When you get knocked down, you have two options. You can either stay down or you get back up and go again.